guys, welcome to Little Helpful Files. My name is Lindsay and we do cash budgeting, mini savings, life in general, all through the glory and by the grace of God. So today we are going to be discussing 3 different things that can help you get out of debt faster. These are the things that I actually have implemented a couple years back when we were trying to get out of $22,000 worth of personal credit card debt. And I think that some of you will be familiar with these, but if you are new to trying to figure out your finances and get a hold of your debt and you're kind of just budgeting and starting out for the first time, I hope that this will be some encouragement and a great resource for you. I am not a financial advisor. I am just a mom who loves Jesus and let the Lord kind of lead and guide everything through our finances to get a hold of our debt and to be able to save more and to work towards not only debt freedom, but also just financial peace. So I hope that you will stick around. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and we're gonna go ahead and dive into these 3 things. Okay, so if you have been budgeting for a while, I know you're gonna be familiar with these, but my first and foremost is actually gonna be using the Avalanche Method. So a lot of people talk about the snowball method and it is great. And the whole concept with the snowball method is to kind of get you that traction and start seeing your debt being paid off. The reality is though, it doesn't actually work to save you the most interest or to save you the most money because you're tackling smaller amount of debt, but they could have your highest amount of interest. And so with the Avalanche Method, you're actually going to go after the debt that has the highest interest because that's what you're accumulating the most on. Now, when you're doing this, you do want to make sure you're setting up minimum payments for all of your other debt, but you're going to take the one that has the highest interest and you're going to start applying as much to that as you can. This is where a budget is going to come in handy. So I would say before you do this, you really want to make sure that you've got your budget in place and that you know how much you're able to put towards the debt. When we were trying to get out of debt, we really we pared back on everything. We tried to eat as plain as possible and tried to be a little bit more conscious about things like that. We cut out any unnecessary spending and we basically didn't really save. We were just putting all of our money towards the debt because we knew that we were spending so much on interest. So you're really going to want to try to track this maybe in a spreadsheet. That way you can see how much you have of each debt, what the interest rate is, and then how long it's going to take to pay that one off. Once that debt is paid off, so your first debt, let's say you've tackled it, you're now going to apply whatever amount you were spending on that to the next debt. And this is where the Avalanche will really take hold. Again, it's very similar to the snowball method, but with the snowball method, the whole concept is just pay off the smaller debts, and help you get that motivation. But if you're really serious about wanting to get out of debt and wanting to save yourself as much money as possible, the Avalanche is really the way to go. All right, so the second thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try to utilize balance transfers. I've talked about this before, guys. A 0% balance transfer will help tremendously. So we actually did this so that there was only, I think, one card that we had interest being charged on, and that was actually the card that we were just paying off each month. So that was kind of the card that we would put a few purchases on and pay it off. I love using balance transfers and 0% offers. You have to be very dedicated to it and diligent with recording it as far as how long the terms of that is going to be, because you obviously don't want the 12 months to be up and then be charged a boatload of interest. You also want to make sure if you are using that credit card for your 0%, you want to not charge anything else to it, okay? This credit card is going to be designated just to your debt. So again, when we were doing this, I think we had about 6 different cards, and that is kind of the way I was navigating and moving through this over about a year or two, is if I had a balance transfer offer, I would transfer as much as I could onto that, be able to take the 0%, pay down the other cards that have the high interest and keep paying, minimum on that 0%. I didn't just stop paying it. And then if I still had a balance and wasn't able to pay all of that off, I would find another 0% balance transfer on one of my credit cards and move that money again. And because I was paying off the other debts and then again rolling that chunk of money, let's say I was spending $300 on a credit card and I got it paid off. Now I would take that $300 applied plus the minimum payment of the next card. Let's say it was $50. So I would take $350 now and be applying it to that next debt in line. And this is how it builds on each other, and you can really tackle some serious debt this way. Again, this is how we got out of $22,000 of credit card debt. So I know it works. We've used it time and time again. Now we haven't had credit debt that high, but we did when we had the car have about 8,000, and we used the same concept and it works perfectly. So I highly recommend doing that. There is a link below that you can actually open up a Capital One card if you're interested. Now, I know they had a promo running. I'm not exactly sure if that's still going, but you can read their terms and conditions and details. When we did it, if you spent $500 in the first month, you got $200 cash back. So again, great opportunity to take that $200, put it towards your debt, and just keep making tons of progress to get yourself into a more financial peace situation. All right, so if you've applied those two things, what is the third thing? Well, you're probably not going to be surprised, but it's really just cash envelopes. I highly recommend doing cash envelopes if you are in a situation where your debt is, your main priority and where you're trying to get a hold of your spending. That was the reality for me. I was a shopaholic and I really, really struggled with how to manage money. I didn't know, how to control certain things. And the Lord really worked and moved in my heart and in my life and convicted me to change and transform the way I thought about money in general. Because it wasn't that I couldn't do it, it's just that I had never tried something different, right? Like I was used to just swiping my credit card, putting it on there, and at the end of the month being like, oh my gosh, my balance is so high, and being shocked. So instead, I started doing the cash envelopes. My husband was on board with it. We started using that for our budget and system, and it helped tremendously because I was able to then see what I had to spend. And once that envelope was empty, that was it for that category, unless I wanted to pull from another category. And so I really feel that it builds the diligence that you need. It helps with staying consistent and keeping you, focused on your budget. I think it's the best way to have that tangible option to know, see, and feel how much money you have to spend. And it really has been a game changer for us. I mean, we still use this in our budget. I don't use it completely cash, based. I do use some cashless with a credit card, but I only recommend that if you've gotten a hold of your spending. All right, guys, so I have a budgeting little by little sheet that is in the Etsy shop. I also have a budgeting form that you can fill out to lay out for each month that is also available in the Etsy shop. And I just hope that, again, you can work towards whatever goals that you have, but remember to just pray, continue to ask the Lord to help you. When we were going through this, that was the most transformative part of it. Like, I just gave it all to God. I said, listen, Lord, I don't know how to do this. I'm weak. I have a spending problem. I really, really, really want to get our family out of debt and in a better situation. And he was so faithful and so good to help navigate me through it. There were so many different videos and things that I was able to watch and utilize that helped. All right, so that is it for me today. I hope that this was an encouraging video for you guys. Again, kind of the basics, but I hope that it explained how to implement these three things. And if you have more questions or you're kind of trying to figure this all out and you need some help, please leave me a comment. I'd be happy to do what I can to, help you out and work through this with you guys. And hopefully we can get you into a position of debt-free living and financial peace. All right, I pray that the Lord will continue to shine his face upon you and bless you guys, and I'll see you in a video soon.